7 o'clock. Just bear with me because I'll be taking the minutes as we go along. So right now, no Martha and no John. John will probably join us in a few minutes. Okay, announcements, open session, and public comments.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. I couldn't hear you guys. All right. I got you. Good. I'm in.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we can see you too, Flip.
That sucks for you guys. Sorry. I apologize. I'll bring in better things for you to look at.
Growing your winter beard here, Flip?
Martha's on the phone. Hi, Martha.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna bring my dog in later, so we have something better to look at than me. But
You don't have the what?
the puppy, you have to, because I want to share.
Oh, I sent it out to everybody. All right, I'll send it out to you right now.
He's talking to
Okay,
me.
yeah. Martha doesn't have the link, so bear with me a minute. And I'm going to send that out to her.
Oh, here he is.
Oh,
Here's the puppy.
Yeah, adorable.
Here's my new helper.
It's like a stuffed animal.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He
You
really
suck
is.
up some paint there, Flip.
Oh, on him? Does he have paint?
Yeah.
No paint on him. No.
There could be one. If there was, there'd be a lot of it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a messy painter.
Yeah. Who, me or him?
I'm not saying anything.
Both of you.
That would be Paul. Yeah, check it out.
Okay, I just sent the link out to Martha.
It's heavy.
We'll give her just a minute to get on, and John will be a little bit late. Sam, you're on. You can hear us, Sam? Sam?
Yep, sorry, I was on mute. Apologize.
You're all set now?
Yep.
Oh, good,
Oh, yeah.
good.
I'm
Welcome.
listening to all the chatter, looking at the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is more handsome, the dog or Flip?
Oh, wait a second. I'm the new guy. I'm not going there. I know that's a
Oh,
trap.
you're a smart guy, Sam.
That's a trap
Martha,
question.
you're on.
No
Can you
way.
hear us?
You can see her.
Martha?
I'm here.
Okay. All right, we will get rolling at 7:03. And we usually start with announcements, open session, public comments. Anybody have any?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none. The next item will be the approval of the minutes from our meeting on November the 4th. I assume everybody got them. Does anybody need a few minutes to go over them? No?
No.
I'm good.
Okay. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion.
Martha? A second?
Second,
I'm sorry, who second?
second,
Dave? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are now part of the record. The next item is the harbor report. Will, you have a report for us?
Yeah, right now we're just getting all the floats out still. The survey for the piggyback dredging starts tomorrow. So we had to make sure all the floats are out for that. And otherwise, it's just business moving forward.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for Will.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
What's the status of the bathrooms down there?
Closed.
Okay, because a couple weeks ago, I saw a guy, I was down the end of the pier by the bandstand. Guy pulls up, jumps out of his car, takes a leak right there, like in the middle of the day. So I'm just wondering if something could be done at some point about bathrooms, because, and that was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, call the police.
Call the police. Yeah, he jumped in his car and took off. So I don't, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's just, and I know it's done a lot down there, but it's just something that I think should be thought about at some point sooner or later, is getting a year-round bathroom down there.
Yeah, I would say it used to always be year-round while we were open, which didn't help on any weekends or anything.
Yeah.
With the COVID and, there's not many public bathrooms anywhere right
Yeah.
now. So that's a little hard. The last time we had the porta potties, that was about $2,000 a month for the porta potties. So that'd be an expensive winter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Something to put on the list somewhere, because I mean, it was just a little too obvious, I mean, he didn't even go behind the bandstand or nothing.
Yeah.
Are the bathrooms drained now, Will?
No, we actually have to use them ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, those guys need them. Yeah.
So they close up at the end of the day?
They are currently closed. They have been all summer.
Oh,
So with the piggyback dredging, are they going to use their own porta potties there?
Yep, they do. That's part of their contracts.
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions for Will?
Well, I had noticed that one of those porta potties was tipped on its side a little bit. Was that the wind?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they have. That's what happened to all the ones we had up there all along. We'd have to go out and straighten them up. If we were there, typically Fraser's guys were there at the same time I arrived in the morning, like 6 o'clock. So whoever was there first would, after a windy night, would tip them back up. So, but yeah, the wind will blow them right over. And then that creates a pretty big mess all over the parking lot. Luckily, we don't have to clean them, but the Fraser's guys did a really good job at keeping them clean all summer.
Yeah, that worked out quite well, I thought.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were there every morning.
Hey,
John, you're on.
Yep.
You're all set, John?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're on for a dredging update. The channel is done. Now we're looking at the access channel in the town North Anchorage. That area is 57,600 cubic yards. And on November 17th, there was a pre-judge meeting of the bidders. On November 23rd, I did a presentation to the Conservation Commission and got their sign off. On November 25th, the bids were open. There was one bidder, Cashman, who did the channel, which is now complete. On November 30th, the Army Corps of Engineers issued the final permit with all the agency sign-offs required. Cashman's bid came in at $2,591,800. The inner area is a little more challenging. It's shallower than the channel. Therefore, there's a more limited amount of time for the scow to get in and out. But it really puts us very much on schedule to finish the rest of Area 1 all the way around to the backside, to the North Anchorage next fall. Let's see if I have anything else on that.
So are they're coming back?
I'm sorry?
So they're coming back?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, about a week, okay?
Oh, okay.
And then do they have to be finished by the end of December?
They have to be finished by the end of December.
Yeah.
They can apply for a 2-week extension.
Oh, nice.
The extension has to be applied for by December 15th. Unless we get a bunch of nor'easters, I don't see how they would go to the end. If they work a 12-hour shift, they can they can do 4,000 cubic yards in the 24-hour shift rather. And they will complete it in 2 weeks. And they certainly have an incentive to put the time in and get out of there to go on to another job. So they'll be using a smaller scow in there because it's shallower. But you know, everything looks good. They certainly know the area well, having done the channel.
Joe,
We're
can you
looking forward.
define that area that they're doing again? Is it the what they're going to do for this last 3 or 4 weeks?
It starts at the fuel dock,
Right.
okay, which is officially called the access channel, and then
Okay.
moves over into what is officially known as the town north anchorage, over to the docks by the harbor master's office. Okay,
So they'll do basically from the gas dock through the ramp area to
Yeah.
the harbor masters.
yes,
And they come in to, I think, what is it, 15 feet from the wall? What is there's a distance that they have. I forget what it
yeah,
is.
it's a slope.
The slope.
Yeah, and it's 57,600, which is about 35% of the total Area 1 dredging all the way around to the other side.
Oh, good. That's
Oh.
awesome. That's a huge bonus to get
Yeah.
that.
Third, yeah.
It's
that's big.
a good start.
That's
That,
awesome.
that includes that area where the, those, smaller boats are moored right off the, marina.
Yes.
Yeah. The mosquito fleet. Yep.
Yeah.
So everything is lining up for that. The bid was higher than per yard than the bid in the channel, but the channel is much easier because it was deeper.
Now, why did they leave?
Yeah. 'Cause
Um,
of the
They didn't
process.
tell anybody, but we're surmising because they're using smaller equipment to get in there.
No.
Okay, they had a 3,000 cubic yard scow when they were doing the channel. They're going to come in with a 1,000 or 2,000 cubic yard scow. Make it
Same
easy.
dredge though, right?
Pardon?
Same dredge though, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
They have the contractor, the company has 7 dredging outfits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they're well equipped to do small and large areas.
That dredge was spotted off Dennis last week, from what I understand.
Yeah.
The one that was in our area.
Mhm. Okay.
Didn't pick up anything on the way through, like that great white shark that Keith Rose videoed, but that's a whole
That
nother.
was pretty nasty.
Are there any questions or comments about that area?
So
Okay.
this is all going according to plan, basically. I mean, when the dredge left, a lot of people were quite surprised. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'll, some people were not surprised when the smaller scow left after running aground on the grants.
oh yeah.
That's still a work in progress to be resolved. But I would imagine the indication is they're going to come in with it, a smaller scow for better maneuverability in that area.
I didn't hear about that. What-
And that,
Yeah,
well,
What
the scow lost power and drifted over onto some of the flats. And instead of waiting for the tide to rise, he gunned the engines and did some damage
Wow.
to some beds.
choppers.
I don't think so.
Was it off Mail Beach? Was it inside or off Mail Beach?
Off Mail.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Chopper's Grant isn't out there.
No, it was probably okay. Yeah, I know. who it
Taylor's or
was.
somebody like that.
Yeah.
Pickard's maybe.
Well, they're pretty far over.
One of them was the Pickers.
Oh.
Oh, really? Wow, that thing was.
Bob Mallory, I think, was another one.
Oh, shoot. Okay, it was way over there.
Nancy is working with them to get estimates to present to Cashman. That's a work in progress.
Yeah, Yeah, they must have insurance on that stuff.
Oh, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any other comments on that? Okay, Marina concerns and suggestions is the next topic on the agenda. Anybody have anything? Okay, new business and future concerns. Anybody have anything in that category? Okay. I have one of the selectmen requested that we review at our next meeting the Marina Enterprise Fund review document that was issued in 2009 and offer comments on it. I will be getting that together and sending it out to you before the meeting. Okay, anybody have anything else?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I did have a question about the fuel. Has there been any further discussion on where on the fuel tanks? I heard some commentary that they were thinking of putting them back underneath or something.
no, it's gonna be above ground. The select board voted on that. I think the only issue now to be determined is the size of them. You know, and they're looking at that.
Where would they put them? Same place?
Above ground,
Just
They
right
are
where they
now.
are, except up high.
that's my understanding.
Okay, just fill in that hole and put them up top.
There's
Or,
a couple different options of where we can put them. One being right in the same spot, which is what was suggested at the select board meeting. Another location is alongside the Shellfish Department building, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
town owned land, wouldn't take up any parking. Those are the two closest spaces that it could possibly go. The problem is right now, currently, the size of the tank and vault above ground would be 35 feet long by 10 feet wide by 10 feet high. And that'd be a significant piece of concrete in the middle of the parking lot.
yeah,
So what we're having the engineer do is some renderings of what that may look like in a few different locations that would be easily accessible to the fuel dock. So that way,
The fuel would have to be pumped up into those. You can't just dump it into the above tanks like you can dump to an underground tank, right?
yeah, the trucks just, yeah. I don't know what that was, but
That was my phone.
oh. Yeah, I don't know. Our fuel concession company didn't have any problem fueling above ground tank.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think most of those trucks have pumps that allow them to do that.
If they were 10 feet, if my understanding is correct here, if they were 10 feet high, right in the location where they're at right now, that would be right where that sign was that everybody went wild about.
Yeah.
You
know.
betcha.
Put the sign back right up on the side of it.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's just another battle we're fighting. So, I would prefer it didn't go in the middle of the parking lot. I prefer we could find a better location than it for that. It would be real nice to know that for the next 30 years, we all won't be staring at that in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah, I think that besides the Shellfish Shack would be a good place.
That's what I had thought. It does take up pretty much all the space between the Shellfish building and Max, though. That's 40 feet.
Hmm.
But, that is all town land. So
Oh, yeah.
That's a big chunk in the parking lot too, to go up there and.
Yeah, steal away.
Yeah, you could have a few extra parking spots if you moved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah,
we'd have a good amount, because then you wouldn't need you wouldn't need where the tank is now.
Right,
And then you wouldn't need the little fire lane on the side of that.
right.
So you could extend that a little bit too, add a couple more spots. So, you're talking at least a half dozen spots.
Exactly.
Every spot seems to count on a weekend, especially. Never
Yeah,
mind these coming weekends where we're gonna have water 24/7 out in front of
Yeah, and the comment was before was with the sign. I mean, when you drive into the, town pier, you're gonna look at like one great big bank of tanks, instead of looking out to the water.
Exactly. And who would wanna take up that view?
Makes no
the water.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between the view and the parking spaces, yeah.
Yeah.
Should
So-
should
Makes
we
no
go, yeah, well, should we make a motion or should we go on record that, like we're recommending that they not be put there?
So I would think when the time comes, right now we're at about 30, I think we just got the bill too, like 34% engineering drawings for the tanks. Obviously GEI is taking a little, the tanks have taken a little backseat to the dredging, because that was a little faster moving, which I have taken quite a bit of heat for with the select board. But I think once we get them a little faster working on this, which we've talked about with them, that would be part of it, is bringing it to the Marina Advisory and asking them, to weigh in once we get a little more like the renderings and things like that, to kind of, co-formulate what everyone would kind of like to see. I mean, it is, it's a good sized project, and I mean, it's going to last a while, so it should really be thought out pretty well. So, better. And, I mean, we're talking, obviously after Mike retires, whoever applies for the, harbor master job, you'll be dealing with them. So, they may have their own opinions. So, but
Well, and above ground tanks, they should be, I mean, I know that they'd be pretty well protected, by some type of barriers and everything. But when you look at the fact, like with hurricanes, and I'm old enough that I remember Hurricane Carol, where like boats were flying across the road down there, airborne.
yeah, I think also we've had a lot of tornado warnings. We had one last week. There's no 100% safe option above ground or below ground. Below ground was, vaulted and things like that. And above ground will be the tank goes into a concrete structure. So the water would have to get pretty high to move around that. So especially if it was in between buildings or something, it would be, we could possibly, if it wasn't between buildings, even put some kind of quasi roof over it to kind of make it fit in a little better, or something like I don't know if the engineering or the fire codes will allow, but even a A-frame roof on it would protect it a little more, but also give it a little more appeal.
One question about the size of the tanks. I seem to remember that we talked about the possibility of them being used also, not just for the marina, but for fueling town vehicles.
You betcha. The town uses approximately 15,000 gallons of fuel a year. And what we are working on with the police department specifically in mind is to put in a fueling pad and a separate pump hookup for town vehicles only. So that way we could fuel up the town vehicles at our pump.
Well, that would even be more of a traffic jam down there in the summertime if it was right in the middle of the parking lot and, vehicles were trying to fuel up.
Exactly, which would lead to a better solution to be out of the way and over towards like, that Shellfish building where a town vehicle could pull up in a, restricted parking.
Right,
spot.
absolutely.
What I was getting at is how would that affect the size of the tanks, having that purpose added on to them?
Well, currently we have a 6,000 and a 4,000 gas diesel mixture.
Uh-huh.
And what we are looking at for the future would be the possibility of, like an 18,000 gallon tank.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. guess that isn't an
No.
issue.
What's the projected life of these underground tanks? I mean, is there any dead limit, like when we have to get those things out of there?
No, no, there's no dead stop. Sooner the better. In this project, they said even still, it could be, you know, the goal is to get it done before the opening of the marina next year.
I thought there was an issue with their insurability.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
They're still insured. It's getting harder. You have to write special policies and underwriting every year. It's not with the standard plan, but they are still insured. They are still monitored, and they're, you know, we do have testing of them. So they
Now,
are.
if they do this with new tanks, do we get new pumps too? Those old pumps look, they look pretty junky.
Yeah, we would probably have to upgrade to some type of digital.
Those things are pretty
You
bad.
know, if you're gonna get some new pumps, it'd be nice to put like some type of little like, you know, structure down there where not a major structure, but like just a little framed in thing where the two pumps go, you know, with a nice sign on it, with maybe a little map of the town, but also some regulations about how long you're allowed to tie up there and, you know, that type of information.
Well,
You
it'd be nice to have a shelter for the guys working the pumps, you know?
You
Yeah.
are 100% right on that, and we already talked about putting that into the design. That hopefully on the renderings you'll see it too. But I don't know if he's going to add that in. But yeah, we talked specifically about building a little, you know, 3-sided hut or something like that to kind of enclose the tanks a little bit. Put a small little roof on top of them. You know, more shed style with some diagram area on it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a temporary roof, like a summer roof, like a, right? Not something permanent.
Something
No,
to
you've all been to these like, you know, park areas where there's like a bulletin board and it's like in a little kiosk thing and there's like maybe just like kind of like a little short roof over the top of it. I mean, it's all open, but you know,
Yeah, with a couple of big fuel dock only signs, you know, and
Yeah,
you know, we could plaster up some different things like Martha's saying, and you know, have a billboard on the back of it, you know, of current events, sandwich box or whatever they're called.
Well, has there been a proposal presented yet about moving it over by the Shellfish office?
The only proposal was the select board meeting that you and I were on last week.
So there's been no discussion further about where it would be placed.
Further than at the select board meeting, no. No. We are again, Dan, still in the 30% stage of design, so
Yeah.
you get a little
So
further along, and that's what the renderings were for.
If people like the sign, they'll love the fuel tank.
So the fuel dock's still gonna stay in the existing area, or is it gonna move from where it's at?
The fuel dock,
Yeah,
that'll stay.
okay.
Yeah, you know, I personally would not like to see the fuel tanks above ground where they currently are now. I think it would be a disaster.
Yes, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say that, but it wasn't a no-brainer at the select board meeting last week. You know,
well, that's why I think that, you know, we need to, when the time comes, we need to get some actively involved with that, with a recommendation and maybe even a presentation, you know, at a select board meeting. Because I think once the general public finds out about that, they're going to be wild, you know?
I would think so, and whoever's in charge at that point in time, their head will roll, I believe, if those. I don't want to set up the next guy to take a fall on something like that, you know? So.
I mean, the sign thing was bad enough, but I mean, this could be
Yeah.
even worse, you know?
Yeah, yep.
It's illogical.
So I definitely think I have asked the engineer to if now that the piggyback dredging is, you know, more functional and we're kind of getting over that hump, if we could speed that process up and focus a little more on it and get that to everyone so that we can kind of get a more of a plan formulated with it, you know, because 30% is not a lot. So
Well, 35 feet long by 10 feet high and 10 feet wide is a sizable structure.
10 feet high is pretty high.
Yeah,
You
Yes,
think of a
they
6-foot
can put
fence.
they can pull out the old sign and mount it on the side of the fuel tank.
yeah. So that that white trailer that we have down there, the oil response trailer, I moved over towards the fuel tanks for quick deployment if needed. That trailer is about 20 feet long, 8 feet wide, might be 7 feet wide. So it'll be 10 feet longer, a few feet higher, and a few feet wider than that white trailer there. And it'll be all concrete, and then there'll be barriers around it. So if you can imagine that, I don't know. I don't want my kids staring at it.
I mean, it'll take a lot of room up.
Yeah,
Right
Yeah,
where we
it's
don't need that.
Doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Oh,
Plus, I think anything above ground to me is illogical in that environment. Because it's all the fittings, everything that goes along with it that are above ground, and they're
you
just
can't-
there, you know?
I don't think you can put it below ground nowadays, Flip.
There's got to be, and you can put some of it contained and some of it underground, which is less visible and seems to me like less likely to have more problems. But I'm not an expert. I'm with Will. It doesn't make any sense to have it just sitting up in the middle of our parking lot. Just hello, here's our gas.
That's why I figured a good compromise with everyone, and the way it was voted on at town meeting was above ground. So the best compromise in my mind would be to have it over by the Shellfish Building in
Right.
alignment with other buildings.
Yeah, with a dedicated pull-up spot for like town vehicles that are going to be refueled.
Right.
Exactly.
If you got to do it that way, yeah, for sure.
Which are presently driving to Eastham to get fuel.
Yeah.
That'll save some money in the long run. And also, won't it be cheaper to insure the tanks if they're above ground?
Well, a lot of the process will be easier. That's something that Mike was always battling for, was the process of the underground fueling, and the operator that you need, the licensor, the whole station that would be basically involved in it. A lot of that would be eliminated in above ground tanks.
Mhm.
The manual operation would be paperwork and time wise would be a lot less for an above ground.
My understanding of the below ground tanks these days is that they're encased in fiberglass, thick
Those
fiberglass.
are. The ones are now, they're double tank fiberglass.
Yeah,
In the oil burner industry, we don't even put in underground tanks anymore. I mean, we can if we follow certain parameters, but it's expensive and the tanks are very expensive.
Yeah, and a portion of this project, the monetary value of it is because we do have to rip out the old fuel tanks and regrade the area. So that is a chunk of change coming out of this. It's not just a straightforward putting a tank in above ground. So because you gotta obviously dig it up and restore it. So
30 or 40 years down the road, they won't have to do that again.
yeah.
Now, can we mention this in the minutes and sort of make a recommendation, kind of a unofficial recommendation that we'd like to see the tanks moved over towards the shellfish department?
I think that's a good idea, because I think we got to start a paper trail right now that we're talking about it. And then, when it comes to the point where we need to go before the Board of Selectmen, I think that we need to ask to speak to them, and make a recommendation, a formal recommendation.
Yeah, this just kind of start, like you said, start things off. Let's get them to know what we're thinking.
yeah. Does someone want to offer a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion. I move that we log our discussion about the tanks and make the recommendation that they be not placed in the parking lot, but placed by the Shellfish Building.
Yeah, and I'll second that.
Okay, Martha's a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, any other future concerns or new business?
Where's our new member?
Sam is
Right
here.
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at the calendar for January. And looking at the possibility, the 6th or the 13th. By then, the dredging will be done of the inner harbor area. And we can also discuss that enterprise fund document.
I would go for the 6th.
Yeah,
Yeah, that should be good for, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong year.
Yeah, it's 2021, unfortunately.
Oh, well,
That's a good thing.
I think we'll all
It
be
might
glad.
be, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, normally I wouldn't be in town around then, but I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere for the holidays this year.
yeah. How is January 6th with everybody else? Dave, Sam?
Yep, works good to me.
Works
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
Works for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
thanks, Flip. Okay, January 6th, and I'm going to take an educated guess that we're going to be on Zoom.
That's not a
In
stretch.
fact, I'd bet money on it.
I would bet money on it too.
Yeah. Always gonna take that bet, Joe.
I want to wish everybody a good holiday. Stay safe.
Yes, very
Same
good.
to you.
Do we have a motion?
Patriots won't be in the Super Bowl.
No.
Yep.
I'll
I'll
make
make
a
a
motion
motion
to
to
adjourn the meeting.
Yep,
Walter, and who will second it?
I'll second it.
Martha?
Okay.
Martha, you heading down to the island?
No, not right now.
No?
No, I'm erring on the safe side of things right now. I mean,
Yeah.
figuring out where things are going, and it looks like it's ramping up down there. And right now, the beaches are closed. I mean, you can swim, you have to be in the water, but you can't sit on the beach. They're talking about putting a 7 o'clock at night curfew in. And coupled with that, I think it's just like really too dangerous to travel.
Yeah, you gotta get on an airplane, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
No, it's
here
not
in-
like that. It's not the
Well,
airplane,
everybody-
it's getting there in the airports. And,
The
you
airport,
know,
yeah.
Everybody stay safe and well, huh?
All right.
You too.
Right.
Thank you.
See you on the
Thank
inside.
Merry
Take
Christmas.
care. Happy holidays.
Take care.
we'll see you. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.